There's a disappearance in Europe that didn't happen in the dark. It happened under security cameras. In 2014, a 28-year-old German tourist named Lars Mittank walked into an airport in Bulgaria. We know the exact place, the exact time. We even have the footage. He had missed his flight home after a minor injury during a vacation with friends. Nothing dramatic, nothing unusual, until it was. Inside Varna Airport, cameras recorded him pacing, nervous, looking over his shoulder. Then, suddenly, he ran. Not toward his gate, but out of the terminal, through a construction area, over a fence, and into a nearby field. That was the last confirmed sighting. No body, no confirmed trace, just video, and a case file that never truly closed. Before the airport footage, nothing about that trip suggested a disappearance. Lars had traveled to the Bulgarian coast with friends for a short summer holiday. Sun, beaches, cheap flights, the kind of trip thousands of Europeans take every year. Toward the end of the vacation, he got into a minor altercation at a bar. Nothing extreme, but enough to leave him with an ear injury. A local doctor examined him and advised him not to fly immediately due to pressure risks, so his friends returned to Germany as planned, and Lars stayed behind for a few extra days. He checked into a small hotel near Varna Airport. He called his mother regularly. He sounded calm, rational, even joked about the situation. Up to that point, everything was documented, logical, explainable. Then, something shifted. The first sign that something wasn't right came through a phone call. Lars contacted his mother from Bulgaria and told her he felt uneasy. He believed he was being followed. He mentioned men connected to the bar incident. He said they were watching him. There was no proof of that. No police reports suggesting an ongoing threat. No confirmed pursuit, but his tone had changed. Hotel security footage later showed him acting restless in the lobby. He avoided eye contact. AC med alert. Overly alert, like someone expecting something to happen. Then came another call. This time, he whispered, decided didn't he feel safe at the hotel. He asked his mother to cancel his credit cards. Up until then, the situation was unusual. Now, it was escalating, and everything was still being recorded. On the morning of July 8th, 2014, Lars took a taxi to Varna Airport. The plan was simple. See the airport doctor, get medical clearance, and board a flight home to Germany. His mother was waiting for his call. Everything suggested this was the final step before the story returned to normal. Inside the airport clinic, he was examined again. According to reports, the doctor saw nothing alarming beyond the ear injury. Lars appeared tense, but coherent. He answered questions. He understood where he was. Then, in the middle of the consultation, something pulled his attention away. He glanced toward the door, froze, and quietly said, "I don't want to die here." Moments later, he stood up and walked out of the room. The hallway camera catches him first. Lars steps out of the medical office, pauses for half a second, just enough to look back, and then he runs. Not fast at first, just determined. He moves through the terminal with urgency, glancing over his shoulder as if someone is right behind him. But no one appears in the frame. No one chasing, no visible threat. Then he accelerates. He exits the main building, cuts through a restricted construction area, and sprints toward a tall perimeter fence. The footage shows him climbing it with startling speed. On the other side, an open field. He doesn't hesitate. He runs straight into it. That is the last confirmed image of Lars Mittank alive. And if you think you already know what happened next, stay with this story, because the official explanations don't close the case. They complicate it. Within hours, Lars was officially reported missing. Bulgarian authorities searched the area surrounding Varna Airport. The field he ran into wasn't wilderness. It was open land, partially developed, not impossible terrain. Search teams combed through it. Drones were used. Volunteers joined in. Nothing. No clothing. No backpack. No phone. His bank accounts were untouched. His passport remained unused. There were no confirmed sightings that held up under scrutiny. German investigators later reviewed the case alongside Bulgarian police. The airport footage was analyzed repeatedly, frame by frame. Every step of his final moments was documented, except what happened after he crossed that fence. It's rare for someone to vanish in a remote forest. It's far rarer to disappear just beyond an international airport. In broad daylight, as days turned into weeks, investigators began leaning toward a medical explanation. Doctors in Germany suggested the possibility of acute psychosis, perhaps triggered by stress, head trauma from the bar incident, or even a reaction to medication prescribed for his ear injury. Sudden paranoia. Irrational fear. A break from reality. On paper, it makes sense. Lars had mentioned being followed. He seemed afraid of something no one else could see. His final words in the clinic, "I don't want to die here," echoed that theory. But there are problems. Medical records show no confirmed neurological damage. Toxicology was never possible, and psychosis alone doesn't explain how someone vanishes without leaving a single physical trace in a contained area. The theory answers behavior. It doesn't answer disappearance. When the official explanation didn't fully satisfy the public, other theories filled the silence. Some believe Lars truly was being followed, that the altercation at the bar wasn't as minor as first reported. Online forums dissected every frame of the airport footage, claiming to spot men in the background. None were ever confirmed as threats. Others suggest something happened after he crossed the fence. An accident. A fall into an unseen structure. Foul play in an area not immediately searched. Yet extensive sweeps of the terrain revealed nothing conclusive. There's also the quiet theory, if you want to consider, that he kept running, that he left the area entirely. Disoriented, afraid, but alive. The problem is simple. Every theory requires an assumption, and there is no evidence strong enough to anchor any of them. Years passed. The footage remained public. The file remained open. Lars' family never stopped searching. His mother gave interviews, appeared on television, pushed for renewed investigations. The case was featured on Germany's most well-known Unsolved Mysteries program, Chin Ungel. Is it bringing new waves of tips? Some claim to have seen him in different countries. None were verified. Interpol was notified. Cross-border databases were checked. Hospitals, shelters, border controls. Nothing definitive surfaced. No financial activity. No confirmed digital footprint. No remains. In an era where disappearing without a trace is almost impossible, Lars' case stands frozen at a single frame. A man running toward an empty field. The investigation never formally concluded. It simply stalled. Today, the final image still exists online. A young man running across an airport lawn under a bright summer sky. No shadows chasing him. No visible danger. Just urgency and then distance. The official file on Lars Mittank remains unresolved. No confirmed cause. No verified sighting. No body. Just possibilities. Maybe it was a sudden psychological break. Maybe there was something we never saw. Maybe the explanation is painfully simple and permanently out of reach. What makes this case unsettling isn't just that he disappeared. It's that we watched it happen. A documented departure into nothing, and somewhere beyond that fence, the story stops. Not because it was solved, but because the evidence does.